What is one piece of advice you would have given your younger self? I ask myself that question all the time. And honestly, I muse about it quite regularly if you guys watch my videos. But there's one that I've been thinking about on and off. And I think that it might be the most useful piece of motivation that I've come across on the internet and in my reading. And it's that the world starts to pay dividends when you begin to interact with it. It's that simple. Society has this escapist culture. We've become very insular over the last 30 or 40 years as we've dialed things down from community units to the individual, and we've moved away from third places to our bedrooms and from arcades to Xbox console. No matter how it operates for you, right? The community table to standing in line at a fast food joint. Our society has been atomized, and I think that this generation in particular, Gen Z, my generation, is really, really feeling it. We've become insular, cut off from the rest of the world. And it's just, it's so easy to cut yourself off from the rest of the world. It's just kind of the norm these days, it feels like, to be isolated from other people. And it's almost gotten to a point where our world practically incentivizes us for not engaging with it, right? Which I think is completely crazy, but it's true. If you think about things like TikTok or YouTube, social media at large, video games, Netflix giving you the ability to binge a show, it's pervasive. And the one thing that it does to us is it almost disincentivizes us from interacting with the real world. And this commentary is not necessarily self-improvement related. This is just good living related. That's actually kind of the heart of what we're getting at here. I think to live a good life and to better appreciate your life, you need to interact with it. And my reason for saying that is simple. The things that matter most in this world don't come from commodities or things. They don't necessarily come from entities of that sort. They come from other people. The most powerful memories that we have come from our interactions with others and what we choose to do or we choose to omit from. And you deprive yourself of that opportunity by cutting yourself off from the world. I'm speaking from experience, but I'm also speaking from experience in the sense that going out in the world and having conversations with real people and interacting with things, doing things, has fundamentally changed my life, has changed my mental health, has just improved my quality of life as a whole. There really is nothing like striking up a conversation with your barista or your bartender, and it's far better than waiting for your Uber driver to drop your meal off at your doorstep. There's nothing quite like going to the movies and talking to the guy that's working behind the counter and asking him what movie he would recommend as opposed to endlessly scrolling on Netflix. There's just something about interacting with the human world and just playing the role of being a human that is just satisfying in a way that being a mechanized consumer could never be. Maybe that's just me. Maybe I'm old-fashioned. I don't know. But there's something completely fulfilling about engaging with my world and being a creature in its environment as opposed to being some sort of analytical datum for these massive corporations and companies that are really only seeking to mine my attention, right? Peel me away from my money by offering me subscriptions. Oh man. The only real subscription I need is the subscription to life. But I don't know, I just think about it. I think about the opportunities that I've had. You're never going to glean those opportunities from behind a computer. You have to adventure out into the world and take risks. You have to try things. And honestly, you might hate some of those things, but God, they could be really good, And if nothing, it creates a good story that you can tell people. And what's more human than being able to tell a good story? My dad, he's got some of the best stories ever. And I can guarantee you that it was not something about him playing Atari with his buddies in high school. They were from him going out into the world and experiencing it and quite frankly doing stupid shit. I guess I'm trying to capture a little bit of my dad. And I would recommend that you guys do too. Because everybody gets so caught up in what the online culture has to say. But offline, culture's just the world is just a different place, man. When you get out there and you smell the air and you touch the grass, you feel the heat of the sun baking you, the rain falling on your face, kind of wakes you up to realizing that you're going to die someday. And maybe that's what we're all running from. I don't know. It's nice to go numb sometimes, and it's nice to not feel things, and it's nice to think that there's this endless existence, no beginning and no end. We're almost infinite on the internet, and that is kind of cool, right? But being tapped in with nature and the mortality of things, with people who will come and go in your life, and it's so incredibly finite. It's just world changing. And it teaches you to be more compassionate towards others, more teaches you a little bit of, I guess, accountability for your actions, teaches you to rise to the occasion and just say yes to life. I will never be 18 driving down a back road in my Jeep Wrangler at 1 a.m. ever again. But that is something that I remember. I'll never be 21 and drunkenly wandering the streets of London with a couple of people that I had just met. I'll never be 22 and sailing in the North Atlantic Ocean in the middle of April in a fog bank with military boats swarming us ever again. All of those opportunities, I had the chance to stay at home and play Minecraft or watch Netflix or just be disconnected from the world. But for some reason or another, call it fate or call it just divine agency, but I chose to go out and do those things. My life is just the better for it, and I'm a better person for it. It's just the little things. Like, what is the human experience if you're not actually experiencing it? Like, I ask myself that question all the time. I don't know if there's a grand design or meaning to life. I'm not really a philosopher in that sense, but what I do know is that every chance that I take that is outside of this cell that like corporations and some sort of construct has created for me, maybe it's my own personal brain, there's a better version of me waiting. One who's more successful, who's more confident, who's happier, more fulfilled. And in some ways, me creating this content is really just me doing that. The moral of the story, go out there and do the thing. Take the chance. Interact with your world. Talk to people. If somebody asks you to go do something, go do it. Because chances are your life is going to be far better as a result of it. Anyway, guys, that's my take for the day. I'll catch you guys later. Love you all.